So in this video I am going to be trying out some nice grimy red armour on this Techmarine for my white scars. You know what? I think I am going to change my kitchen towel. It's a new video and I want to show you how I'm living life. Howdy folks, I'm Autumn Witch and welcome to Bleeding Tree Gaming. In this video I am going to paint this Techmarine. Now the reason I'm painting this Techmarine is I want to try out red armour. Aside from a few Rogue Trader Blood Angels, I've not really done much in the way of red armour. I also, because he's going to be a white scar, I haven't put the shoulder pad on him yet, I should do that later. I'm also going to try and work some tribal markings into the overall paint scheme so that he looks like a white scar. Actually can hang around with this blokey dude, who is going to be his big chunky mate. The first thing is overall white prime, as you can see, not bothering with a zenithal. And now I just need to gather the reds. And so here are all of my red paints, minus, you know, your blood for the blood god and like effects paint. I'm going to go quite bright with Bar Red, I think. I will be toning it back later with my usual panel liners to get it looking grimy, and then I should be bringing it back up, leaving the oily enamels in the recess to look pretty badass. I would have started this ages ago, but the weather's been so warm and humid that everything's just kind of you know, instantly dried on the brush whilst moving it from the palette to the model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over everything. As you can see over the white, this is coming through almost pink. So there will hopefully be some vibrance left even after the dirtying techniques. It normally takes a bit more effort to get full coverage with contrast paints, because even though you think you've got parts covered, the tension on it as it dries tends to pull away. So yeah, you can see in a couple of spots that it's pulled away, but these are spots that were only red so that I could paint the red quicker. The next step is to paint everything that's going to be black grey. And then everything that is going to be metal, black. Yep, and it's time to do white on the cables, and I'm going to go over them with a yellow. Okay, well here he is with the base coats on. The next step I think will be to do some of the cables, which should look quite good with some vibrant colour. Of course, it's all going to be toned down shortly, so let's pick out some cables, shall we? I want the majority of the cables to be yellow, so I'm going in on what feel like secondary ones. It really doesn't matter if it goes over onto the red a bit, because those areas will be filled up with the panel liners. Now normally from other Space Marine armies because I do tend to get a lot of them. For the units that don't wear the usual chapter liveries, like the librarians, Techmarines, apothecaries, etc., I tend to do them in just like the basic chapter colours, maybe add a little touch of their extra colour as a flourish, but I always do chaplains black. And this guy, I'm making him as red as possible. The wonderful thing about contrast paints is, I mean, I know it's the speed, but it's also just how much more accessible completed models become. Yeah, my back is awful most of the time, so I only really get limited time to come and hunch over a desk with some very detailed models, and I get things painted. I'm well on my way to having 2,000 points of White Scars painted, and they're an army I only started this year, whereas I've got thousands of points of Ultramarine sitting half finished. A lot of people complain about contrast. They think it's cheating, but why should people deny themselves the satisfaction of a complete model or a complete army just to do things the way other people insist is the only legitimate way? I've been painting for 30 years. I'm not a great painter, but I can feel proud of whatever painting I have done. I love how vibrant this looks on camera. It's not quite this vibrant in person. What that means is that the vibrant colours underneath, when I go over with the panel liner, is going to keep some of that vibrance coming through. Bar red, it's just so red, like red, all in caps, all caps, red. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Stormhost Silver. Now I know it's normally the brightest highlight, but here, if I do the metal in the brightest colour, it's the school rush outside, so yeah, the whole neighbourhood's about to be flooded with delightful children. So what I shall do is I shall paint on all of the metallics, and I shall come back to you when everyone in the street has shut the f*** up. Okay, now it is time to get grotty and grubby. Coming in with the black, and I'm going to cover the whole model. See how it just runs so nicely into the recesses. And I put some Gilliman glaze over the blade of the turbo axe. Now it's time to grab a few paints and start bringing those colours up. So I'm going to need Corax White. I'm taking thinned Corax White because even though it goes on quite bright, as the water evaporates, it will dry a little transparent. And whilst I'm doing that, taking his grav pistol, I need to find a better way of judging a brush other than just licking the end. Oh, never mind. My piston red. But look at how this grimy red is coming back through. And you know, when it comes to painting a miniature, I've said it before, there comes a point where you think it looks terrible, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. You can see everything finally falling into place. Needs to be basically an all-over job, making sure that the effect of the enamel remains in the recesses. I apologise, Mr. Techmarine, if this tickles. And you can see, because it's thin, it's starting to dry already. And look at that. Now on the left leg where it's set back, I'm less inclined to go in fully, but I am gonna try and tidy up some of these because it is in recess, which gives more contrast over the entire model. We are Wazdaka Red. This is going to be the highlight colour, and I shall get it nice and thin. And I'm not going in with clean straight lines here. I'm doing what I did before, but just on the higher points. While that is doing its thing, I shall be doing the transfer, and I'm using my usual decal fixer, which is really handy when a two-dimensional transfer goes over a three-dimensional object. For the grab pistol, Tesseract Glow. Okay, and now it's time to do a little shading with the Nuln Oil. So I'm going to now take an old brush and some Vallejo powder pigment and get them all over my hand immediately. Now this is a dark slate grey, which should go quite well on his lower legs and other areas where soot may gather. You can see it collects nicely into the recesses. I like a grotty Techmarine. Taking some Geek Gaming fast drying basing glue. I still have some in this here pipette. And then drop here, drop there, and now the final pièce de résistance. And last thing is old brush, a little bit of water, and just taking some of that pigment off the top highlights. So he's finished, and it's such a lovely day I thought we'd do the outro outside. If you enjoyed this video, please think about subscribing if you haven't already, and dropping us a like and a comment. We've also opened up a Ko-fi account and a Bleeding Tree Gaming Discord server, the details of which are in the description below, along with an affiliate link for Element Games. Thank you for watching. I'm Autumn Witch, and I'll catch you next time on Bleeding Tree Gaming.